The war between Russia and Ukraine, as well as the blockade of Ukrainian ports, has led to an increase in prices of cereals and other goods, which has affected African countries. Ukraine was one of the main suppliers of these products in the region. Protests and impoverishment of the population are already taking place in Africa due to the price hike. Nearly half of African countries have not publicly condemned the Russian invasion. They are trying to continue their cooperation with Russia. No African country has joined the sanctions against Russia. Ukraine wants to change this attitude and attract African countries to its side. Additionally, Ukrainian authorities are trying to purchase necessary weapons for the Ukrainian armed forces on the continent. Russia also wants to attract Africa to its side. This week, the Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, visited Egypt, the Republic of Congo, Uganda, and Ethiopia. According to Bloomberg, the Kremlin-backed TV channel RT plans to soon open an African bureau to promote Russia. BBC News Ukraine explains why Ukraine needs African support during the war, what Africans think about it, and whether African states are ready to support Ukrainians in the war against Russia. Why does Ukraine need African support? The reaction of most Western countries has been to impose sanctions in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. At the same time, Africa, Latin America, and the majority of Asian countries did not adhere to the sanctions, which allowed Russian politicians to say that much of the world rejects Western policy towards Russia. How could Russia react if Ukraine joins the EU? Oleksandr Mishin, co-founder of the Ukrainian Center for African Studies and lecturer at the Institute of International Relations of Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev, believes that the neutrality of many countries has weakened the ability to quickly punish the aggressor. According to him, Russia is now trying to replace lost European markets with the markets of these neutral states, and wants to present itself as one of the founders of a new fair multipolar world. De facto, Russia explains to all these countries that the way to build this multipolar justice is through the destruction of an independent Ukraine and the massacre of Ukrainians, Mishin notes. According to the expert, attempting to challenge Russian war discourse in Africa means not only fighting for votes at the UN. It also means a quicker victory over the aggressor, making it impossible for Russia to compensate for its losses with new markets. Finally, it is a struggle for the future of humanity without colonial wars. The behavior of Russia can become a model for other aggressive states. They now have an example of how to divide the world during aggression in order to avoid total isolation. This can affect countries in Africa if a country decides to change the borders of the continent. However, the reaction to the Russian invasion has shown how difficult it will be for Ukraine to convince some African states.